Hello there! I will explain the mechanism behind Bitcoin, called blockchain, in a way that even a child can understand. So let's dive right in. Back in 2008, a mysterious person named Satoshi Nakamoto said this: "Isn't it a bit risky to trust banks 100%? What this means is that the banks we use every day are actually black boxes, where everything is entrusted to a single place. For example, suppose you deposit $100 in a bank. At that moment, you don't physically have the $100 bill. The only thing that exists is a record in the bank's computer saying you have $100. Satoshi believed that relying completely on a single point like this is dangerous. First, if the bank's server breaks, all the data could be lost. If a huge meteor hit the bank's computer and erased the data, your savings would turn into nothing but a memory. Second, people inside the bank could do whatever they want. Even if a powerful person secretly changes the numbers at night, we outside have no way to detect that tampering. And third, the cost is extremely high. The cost of big buildings, security, and huge systems all comes from the fees we pay. Satoshi thought, leaving everything to one place is convenient but too risky, and said this: "We don't need banks if everyone keeps the same notebook." This may sound absurd, but what does it mean? It means stopping keeping records in a single vault called a bank, and instead, everyone in the network has an identical copy of the notebook. When someone spends money, everyone is notified and writes it down, creating the ultimate overly helpful system. For example, if news spreads that A sent $100 to B, everyone writes it in their notebook. Then everyone knows B now has $100, so no one can lie, making it safe. Then transactions from around the world are grouped into sets called blocks, about 1,000 each, and recorded all at once. But naturally, you might think this: if everyone has a notebook, couldn't someone secretly write, "I received $1 million and win"? That's where our data watchdog, a calculation robot called Mr. Hash, comes in. Mr. Hash's job is simple. When you feed a block of transactions into his mouth, he spits out a ticket with a different number written on it. At this point, the rule is that you must include a random number along with the block. For example, if you input 1,000 with the block, Mr. Hash outputs 559,241. Now what happens if you change the number to 1001? You might expect something close like 559,242, but it's not that simple. Suddenly, it outputs something like 050832, a completely unpredictable random number. Mr. Hash always gives the same output for the same input, but even a tiny change produces a completely different result. These numbers are very long, so guessing the original input from the output is practically impossible even with years of global computing. Here, Satoshi said, only the person who finds a ticket starting with 000 can write in the notebook. This means people worldwide keep trying numbers with Mr. Hash, and only the lucky one who finds such a number can add to the notebook. No one knows what Mr. Hash will output until they try, so people worldwide keep trying 1, 2, 3, entering numbers an enormous number of times. This is essentially a massive global lottery. The person who wins and writes in the notebook gets newly issued Bitcoin as a reward. This process of searching for the winning number is called mining, like digging for gold. People pay high electricity costs and use powerful computers to keep feeding numbers into Mr. Hash 24/7. By leveraging this desire, computers worldwide maintain and protect the ledger without a central bank. However, this alone is not perfect. If someone rewrites a past page to say, "I received 100 Bitcoin," and happens to win, they could create false records. Individually, such a block looks valid. So Satoshi said, include the winning number in the next block and link them like a chain. This means when creating a new block, you must include the previous block's winning number into Mr. Hash. This links all blocks together, forming a chain. Even if someone rewrites history and rebuilds the chain, it becomes a fork separate from the real chain. Everyone can see it's different. Then Satoshi added, trust the longest chain. A malicious actor's fake chain grows slowly, adding only 1 or 2 blocks at best. The real chain is extended by people worldwide, constantly mining 24, so it grows much faster. When people compare which ledger is real, the longer one shows more computational effort, so trusting the longer one identifies the real chain. This makes Bitcoin secure and resistant to tampering. Bitcoin records are extremely hard to alter afterward. However, to maintain security, computers worldwide perform massive computations, consuming huge electricity. That was an attempt to explain blockchain in a simple way. See you next time.